What to do with all of those leftover candy canes? So what should you do with all of those leftover candy canes after they've been gifted to you, or use them as decorations, or heck, when they go on clearance for 25 cents a box after Christmas and you might want to stock up because you're a little crazy? I tried to think of all the things you can do, and not just for Christmas but after Christmas. So we've got intact, crushed, and melted. So first we're going to use these peppermint candy canes, the big one and also these little mini ones, and we're going to see what we can do leaving them completely intact. So the little ones I think work best for this. You just put them together and make little hearts, and then fill them with what I'm using here, some white almond bark or white chocolate. And then for the other one, I got a pretty long lollipop stick for the full-size candy canes. Now honestly, I mean, it's a pretty giant lollipop and a lot of white chocolate and a lot of just chunky candy canes. So that honestly wasn't my favorite. It's cute, it's fun, but I don't know how many people are really going to enjoy just sucking or chewing on that. I think the little ones are a lot more practical. They can be in a group with other candies, and also I think it's fun. You can use them as little cupcake toppers, and these would be perfect for Valentine's Day right around the corner. So the other thing, now not completely whole but mostly intact, if you take and just take off that candy cane top, that crook, so you just have nice straight lines, we are going to make some, I think you would call them reception mints. So just like you can get at a wedding, they're usually multicolored, but little mints that are dipped inside chocolate. And this is a really easy one that takes it from being just Christmassy to any time of the year, which was really my goal here, because like you can get really tired of all the sweets, and I figured if you're going to have a great sale, might as well find alternate uses for these great items. So after they've had a chance to cool, you can kind of clean them up a little bit, but honestly, like, you wouldn't even know that that was a candy cane. It's just a tasty chocolate covered mint. So next I'm going to use these cherry flavored candy canes. I find that there's a lot of uses that are non-minty, so definitely go look for them. But we're going to crush these, take a hammer and a Ziploc bag, or you can do this in a food processor or a blender. And you might want fine powder or big chunks depending on the project. This, I'm just putting it into a white cake mix, and this was one of them that I was most excited to experiment with, and I was so happy with how it turned out. You can kind of see a decent amount, not too huge of chunks, but look at that. It is so fun and colorful, and it's got a nice cherry flavor. It's not overwhelming, but you can definitely taste it there. And you know, if you've only got the mint ones, how good would this be like a mint chocolate? This is to die for. I'm definitely happy with this, so I definitely recommend that. The other thing, of course, if you're going to do those cupcakes, might as well use them as sprinkles if you're all crushed. Got some little raspberry on there. Next one was a crowd favorite at my friend's house. Pop some popcorn, and then with just a little bit of melted white chocolate. You don't want to cover them too much so you can't enjoy the crisp and the flavor, but it's really going to help glue on the candy canes that you're using. And I actually did a triple berry, so that's got the cherry, it's got raspberry, and it's got blueberry. And this was definitely the crowd pleaser. Really fun. I did pretty fine chunks here, but you could do bigger for more crunch, and just experiment. You don't want it to overpower, but definitely a favorite. Definitely try it. Next up, going back to the peppermint. If you like peppermint, this was re-requested, but go ahead and crush them up, mix them in with some vanilla ice cream, and it goes pretty soft serve to get a real good mix. But then I just served it in a container, kind of popped it back into the freezer if you do want it to firm up a little bit. You don't want it to melt too much, because then it won't be as smooth and creamy, but very tasty. With these blueberry candy canes, took and blended them up, and then I thought it would be fun to line a rim with them. So you could do hot chocolate, coffee, any sort of drink really. I just took some water. It probably would stick better if you did like a little bit of corn syrup, but I didn't want to add to the sweetness. Next up, for some peppermint again, we are going to the melted category. So just melt some down in water, boil it down. I was a little impatient, so mine just turned out to be flavored colored sugar water, which is totally fine. If you do have the patience and you boil it down more, you'll get more of a syrup consistency, so you don't have to use as much to flavor things. But flavoring lemonade, I thought it would be fun because I've had like peppermint, or sorry, just mint leaf lemonade, which is definitely is not. It's definitely not the same as fresh mint leaves, but it's fun seeing the different colors that you make, and it's a nice little sweetened tea. I'd recommend homemade so you can get that tartness of the lemon to balance out the sugar. So this one I did another triple berry combo using the cherry, raspberry, and blueberry, boiled it down, and had fun adding it not only to lemonade but also to hot chocolate. I didn't demonstrate it here, but honestly, like, because of how little I boiled it down, half of the water in the hot cocoa to be that syrup is probably the right combo. Either way, you experiment with it, but it's just an idea. Candy canes ultimately are sugar, flavor, and color. And last but definitely not least is almost an art project, really fun with the kids and honestly really fun as an adult. I will definitely be doing this one again. So you can see here, I took the little crooks of the candy canes that I snapped off, and then some of the crushed raspberry on the inside, and I thought it would be fun to make a design. I also just tried to make different designs, which I think there's a little bit of learning curve for how it actually turns out. But I had seen like on Pinterest a couple of years ago how people were doing platters with starlight mints, and it just kind of inspired me to melt these. So on parchment paper here on a baking sheet, I am just putting them in different designs and experimenting with them. Now, if you had metal cookie cutters and grease them well, I think that you could put them in there and actually make a specific shape. But even if you don't, it's really fun. And I just threw these in the oven at 350. You could experiment with different heats, because I don't know about these. They did get a bubble, and they did spread out more than I thought, but I wasn't totally shocked. But how fun are these? And when it cools, you can break them up into little bits. I think they taste better that way than just a big hunk of awkward candy cane. And again, you can use this year round. You can break them up and dip them in chocolate. You can use these as cupcake toppers. You can use these for a lot of things. So I definitely would say that this is up there as one of my favorites. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas. Thank you so much for subscribing. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why this channel keeps growing, but I feel like I'm not getting very many views. So I don't know if you guys are getting notifications. So make sure to hit that bell. And if you see something that you like on here, please do share it. I would love to grow even more and be able to share more with you guys. And again, have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next week. Bye.